Hello everyone, and welcome to the FerMUN 2022 Closing Ceremony. We'd like once more to invite our FerMUN Secretary General, Maureen March, to give her opening remarks. Madam Secretary General, you have the floor.
Thank you, Galileo. Dear all, long time no see. I hope that since you've last seen us on screen here, you've learned a lot, exchanged a lot, and had a lot of fun. The board and I are looking forward to reading each committee's resolutions, the ultimate achievement of all your hard work and the combined efforts of delegates, chairs, bilingual teams, and admins. Personally, I wasn't able to be in every committee at all times, but based on what I observed and based on what I saw from all the FerMUN 22 memes on Spotted, I can say beyond the shadow of a doubt that this year's conference was a wonderful success. Sure, we might have had some technical difficulties, as you might have just witnessed regarding this closing ceremony, but nothing that couldn't be overcome with the right mindset and proper communication. Talking about communication, I'd like to give a big thumbs up to our press, communications, and intercultural teams. They've strived to provide us with some unique moments of interactions and quality entertainment all throughout the conference. And then, of course, we have our favorite group of people over the age of 20, all you teachers, directors, and parents who've provided us with some much needed support. We appreciate your attentiveness and engagement towards making this conference a memorable experience for all of your students. Cheers. FerMUN 2022 was my first conference as Secretary General, and sadly, my last conference as a high school student. I will definitely miss this amazing community, our dear FerMUnity, and I would like to thank each and every one of you for all your good vibes and for making my final moments here unforgettable. I am extremely proud of everything that we have achieved here as a FerMUN family over the last few days, but also over the last year. Sure, there were some times of stress, but nothing that couldn't be overcome with success. And if I'm here in front of you with a smile on my face, it's because I'll be taking home with me some unforgettable memories that time will never erase. Thank you very much, and I yield the floor back to the chair.
Thank you, Maureen. We'd now like to show you our FerMUN closing video, created by our wonderful and talented communications team.
If you and me can dare to be, work on our sincerity, we'll see the world with clarity and feel more solidarity. Let's strengthen our community. Let's build up our immunity, diversity and unity. We are the new FerMUnity. Equal rights and fair distribution, justice for us all the solution. Precious life has no substitution. Where will you make your contribution? Dare to speak your resolution. Do your part to stop pollution. Change is our main institution. Join our peaceful earth revolution. There's opportunity in each community, diverse in our unity. We are FerMUnity. Yeah, we are FerMUnity. Yeah, yeah, we are FerMUnity. Yeah, yeah, we are FerMUnity. You and me, that's community. Life is just opportunity. Yeah, 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 we are FerMUnity. Yeah, yeah, we are FerMUnity. Yeah, yeah, we are FerMUnity. Yeah, yeah, we are FerMUnity.
Thank you again to the communications team. You've done amazing work. We'll now have a musical interlude presented by FerMUN participants from FerMUN. Thank you, students who participated in the production. Next, we'll have delegates from all 6 committees tell us about their experiences at FerMUN. Shems Zoudani, delegate of Australia and the Human Rights Council, you have the floor.
Thank you, Galileo. More than 30 delegates from Togo, France, passing by Spain, England, and my country, Morocco, in short, coming from all parts of the world, were reunited to discuss 2 topics of the utmost importance. Reunited to discuss the fate of 2 groups that are increasingly at stake in today's globalized world and the era of the COVID pandemic: religious and racial minorities. A noble subject that leads us to a reflection beyond diplomatic ties and mechanisms, beyond political theories and debates, but to a reflection on the very concrete and tangible ways that people like you and I are being treated. A subject all the more noble because all the delegates, without exceptions, expressed, in spite of the differences, a desire to represent the interests of their delegations in the first place, but also and above all, the interests of humanity as a whole. Indeed, physical or verbal violence, microaggressions, and societal group exclusions of which minorities, religious minorities and racial minorities are victims, can now be counted in the tens of thousands per year, and are no laughing matter. Every single government is concerned by this issue because it is the integrity of their citizens that is being undermined. Thankfully, throughout our committee sessions, all delegates of the Human Rights Council have played the game and passed this challenge with flying colors, which has made me particularly proud and honored of being part of this experience. Particularly proud and honored of us. All this, despite what some might call the language barrier, that was in reality a bridge for us to understand each other in more depth and get closer to each other,
despite being miles away in reality. This FerMUN experience was the absolute proof that no matter the circumstances, change is nothing but an idea or a speech away from us. I yield the floor back to the chair. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for your speech. Next, we invite Louis Arnoux, delegate of Sweden in the International Labour Organization. You have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening to all present delegates of the United Nations, and thank you for inviting me. I am the delegate of Sweden in the ILO, and have had the pleasure to work with many talented delegates during FerMUN 2022. This year, the ILO committee discussed two matters of the utmost importance for the modern and future workforce. Firstly, we discussed how to mitigate labor exploitation in the fast fashion industry, and secondly, how we can provide an affordable and high-level education for all children. Delegates representing many countries from across the globe, may it be Canada to South Africa, including Bangladesh, China, and many others, have been able to look past their personal ideologies to find common ground in some of the most pressing issues of the modern world. I will not say it was a smooth road, but through debate and dialogue, I'm very proud to announce that the delegates were able to see beyond their personal biases and defend the measures that will help put an end to many injustices, building a better future for the international workforce. I am particularly proud of how developed and less developed countries have put forth an effort to understand the disparate situations that their countries find themselves in. I believe that the first resolution that was passed on issue number 1 illustrates this compromise and will go great lengths in defending the rights of workers. Concerning the second issue, delegates challenged their conception of what we consider education and have sought to redefine this term to fit the constant changes that the technological revolution has brought with it. I want to issue a special and heartfelt thank you to all the delegates that have made this possible, because I cannot think of a better definition of what the United Nations is meant to be than the work that we have accomplished during these days at the ILO. Thank you very much for your attention. I now yield the floor back to the chair.
Thank you so much for your speech. We now invite Ali Belbashir, delegate of Yemen in the Security Council, to present their experience. Delegate, you have the floor.
Thank you, Chair. The delegate of Yemen was very honored and pleased to be in the Security Council in FerMUN. We had the chance to exchange and debate with over 15 delegates from all around the world with the company of an amazing chairs and admins and interpreters. We treated two very alarming subjects that were very problematic and touched till this very day thousands of civilians, and that had a lot of controversy and a lot of decision-making and debating to do. With that, as a committee, and our determination to find peace and security, we tried and negotiated to find an equal approach to each conflict and topic, an approach to each subject that makes us a credible voice as state members of the Security Council on peace and international security on an international stage. The passion to find solutions, even if it can be very politically difficult, in this committee is what the delegate of Yemen is most proud of. The most memorable moments of the delegate of Yemen's was the informal debates about the Israel and Palestine conflict, where although there was strong controversy and tension and many aspects to take into consideration, as this conflict affects ethnicities, history, and human lives, we as a committee and state representatives put our political differences aside and tried to work on one goal, which is the peace in the world without violence. It was an exceptional and very memorable experience and chance that will mark a milestone in the delegates of Yemen's journey of geopolitics and politics. Finally, I would like to issue a big thank you to all the members of my committee, including the chair, the admins, and the interpreters and translators. Thank you. I yield back the floor to the chair.
Thank you, Delegate, for your speech. Ensuite, nous invitons Ayman Fadiga, délégué de la Norvège dans le Conseil de sécurité. Vous avez la parole.
Merci de me donner la parole. Je suis Ayman Fadiga et j'ai eu l'opportunité de prendre part à cette expérience en tant que délégué de la Norvège au Conseil de sécurité 2. Ce fut une expérience que j'apprécie de tout cœur pour plusieurs raisons. Avant toute chose, je tiens à vous rappeler à quel point prendre part à un MUN est toujours une occasion de mettre à l'épreuve notre capacité à dialoguer, à débattre, à confronter notre point de vue face à ceux d'autres délégations, ce que je trouve fort intéressant. D'une part, lors de ce MUN, comme pour les autres, nous sommes amenés à débattre de problématiques très intéressantes et cherchant à y fournir des résolutions complètes, ce qui consiste en un effort intellectuel très enrichissant. Dans notre comité, les débats formels ont été dynamiques, les lobbying ont été vivants. Les interventions étaient pertinentes et les questions les plus incertaines ont pu souvent fournir des réponses enrichies, après des échanges argumentés. Sur la question de la famine et de la situation humanitaire au Yémen, il nous fallait proposer des solutions pour améliorer la situation sécuritaire, pour, plus tard, pouvoir améliorer l'aide humanitaire dans le pays. Rappelons que dans ce pays, les populations civiles subissent des affrontements entre les partis armés, ce à quoi nous sommes parvenus à proposer des solutions. En ce qui concerne le conflit israélo-palestinien, il s'est notamment posé la question du statut de la ville de Jérusalem, ainsi que la manière dont parvenir à la fin du conflit, ce que, là encore, nous sommes parvenus à nous entendre lors des résolutions. D'autre part, ce fut une expérience agréable et conviviale. Les débats formels, comme les débats informels, ont été cordiaux. Aussi, les animations proposées lors des pauses étaient instructives et nous avons pu avoir des icebreakers et des échanges drôles lors des moments hors débat. Un des moments les plus marquants lors du débat formel fut le vote à l'unanimité de la résolution sur le Yémen. Cette unanimité a une portée symbolique, car elle nous rappelle qu'un consensus entre les nations est réalisable et est de ce fait porteuse d'espoir pour l'avenir. Il y a une chose dont je suis particulièrement fier lors de cette conférence, que nous abordions chacune des questions qui se posent et que nous proposions des solutions sérieuses et réalistes à chacune de nos problématiques, car cela est révélateur de l'implication réelle et sérieuse de notre génération et des générations à venir dans les questions d'actualité, celles qui façonnent notre monde, et cela, on le ressent bien au au Conseil de sécurité. En somme, ce fut une expérience réussie pour moi, et je l'espère pour tous les autres délégués, et ce, grâce à l'implication de chacun, des présidences, des interprètes, mais aussi de tous ceux qu'on a moins vus, les admins, le département bilinguisme, les boards, les directeurs et les autres. Toutes ces personnes ont fait des efforts remarquables pour nous fournir une expérience agréable, malgré le court délai qu'ils ont eu pour passer la conférence en distanciel. Ainsi, je souhaiterais exprimer mes remerciements les plus sincères à tous et espère que vous aurez tous de nouveau l'opportunité de prendre part à des MUN. Souvenez-vous, chers participants, que nous avons voix à ce qui se passe dans notre monde et qu'un jour, nous serons amenés à agir pour le rendre meilleur. Merci. À présent, je vais passer la parole à l'interprétation.
Good evening. My name is Ayman Fadiga, and I had the opportunity to take part in FerMUN as a delegate of Norway in the Second Security Council. Taking part in an MUN is always an opportunity to test one's ability to dialogue, debate, and confront one's point of view with that of other colleagues. In our committee, the formal debates were dynamic, the interventions were relevant, and the most difficult questions were answered after extensive and argumentative dialogue, especially during the debate on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Our committee agreed on different ways to facilitate the establishment of new ports and airports for the humanitarian activities in the country. With regard to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, we raised the question of the status of the city of Jerusalem and how to end the conflict. One of my favorite moments was the unanimous vote for one of our resolutions on Yemen. This unanimity is symbolic because it reminds us that a consensus between nations is possible and therefore gives hope for the future. I love that we address each of the issues that arise and that we propose serious and realistic solutions to each of our problems. This is indicative of the real and serious involvement of our generation in the current issues that shape our world. All in all, it was a very successful experience for me, and I hope for you as well, thanks to everybody's involvement, including those we didn't see. All of these people made remarkable efforts to provide us with an enjoyable experience, despite the short time they had to organize everything. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And remember, dear participants, that we have a voice in what happens in our world, and that one day we will be called upon to bring the action to make it better. Thank you. I yield the floor.
Merci pour votre discours et merci à l'interprétation. We now invite Hector Giraud, delegate of Johnson & Johnson in the World Health Organization. You have the floor.
Thank you, Galileo, and thank you for inviting me in this closing ceremony. For me, and I'm sure for many others, it was a true pleasure to be part of this FerMUN conference. Making research, meeting new people, debating and trying to find solutions to real global problems are really quite wonderful experiences. I've had so much fun and have done so many new things these past few days, and I'm really grateful for that. I loved our committee and all the wonderful people that were in it. And I also want to give a special thank to Emma and Amel for the job as chairs. They were the perfect balance between being fun and being competent. So thank you for that both. Now, they asked me to talk in my speech about the challenges we managed to overcome, and as well as what made me the most proud of my committee. Um, my answer might be a bit unusual, but I think it was the level of acting, of role playing, which I think was amazing. Because in the end, that is what simulations are about. It's about being able to get into a character, to defend ideas you disagree with, and to do that convincingly. It's about getting outraged over something someone said, which is totally aligned with your vision of the world, but not with what your country thinks. And so I can safely say that the enthusiasm and the quality of the interventions I've seen in our committee were truly quite wonderful. It was so much fun debating and talking and finding ways to get your point across. So I'd like to thank everyone again. The second question I'm supposed to answer is, what was the most memorable moment of diplomacy? Now, I'd like to say that it was when we managed to pass 2 resolutions with an absolute majority, no abstentions and no votes against. But I think the best moment was one of the amendments Russia presented. Because after many very convincing speeches from the whole committee about why the amendment should not pass, and a plethora of points of information, the whole committee voted against with an absolute majority. We managed to convince Russia, the country who submitted the amendment, to vote against their own amendment. Now, my goal here is not to make fun of Russia. To the contrary, he was able to change his mind and recognize that the arguments were good, and I can only congratulate him for that. No, my goal is to outline that if we listen to each other, talk respectfully, and have an open mind, we can change minds and subsequently make our change in the world. Thank you very much. I yield the floor to Galileo.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll hear from Salomé Givaudan, delegate of Iran in the World Intellectual Property Organization. You have the floor.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to represent the WIPO at this closing ceremony. Delegates from Morocco, Turkey, France, Denmark, Spain, and Togo have been debating for the last 2 days. Those fruitful debates led to interesting and well-organized resolution concerning eco-technologies and the COVID-19 pandemic. Our first was concerning innovation and development, while the second was focused on impact. Are in one managed together. The main challenge that we overcame was finding a common agreement. The policies were a lot different between countries such as Iran, South Africa, Germany, or Japan. Therefore, that we could pass a resolution concerning eco-technology lost change. In the end, we created something phenomenal. Concerning the most memorable one, because then asked each country to put aside the except they need to ask help from other institutions. Japan also thanks everyone for their cooperation on the resolution that I mentioned before, because at the beginning, absolutely against it. I could say even more of them. Diplomacy and compromise have been key words during the debates, even though Germany was almost more authoritarian than Iran. Finally, I'd like to thank everyone who helped making this amazing conference. I give the floor back to the chair.
Thank you, Doge. Finalement, nous invitons M. Nao Monge, délégué de la Chine dans le programme environnemental des Nations Unies, à prendre la parole.
Honorable présidence, chers délégués, je suis en effet le délégué de la Chine dans la commission de l'UNEP 1 et je suis venu pour vous donner un peu mon avis sur ce qui s'est déroulé pendant ces 2 derniers jours. Donc, dans cette édition 2022 de FerMUN, nous avons discuté de 2 sujets sur chacun des 2 jours. Le premier était la protection de l'Arctique, tenant compte des enjeux environnementaux et territoriaux. Et je suis sincèrement très fier de notre comité parce que nous avons réussi à atteindre comment dire, un accord entre tous les pays, et même 2 résolutions sont passées, donc non pas une fois, mais 2, où tout le monde est arrivé à un accord, sachant que l'Arctique est une région pleine de tensions territoriales, mais qui en plus est très fragile environnementalement et très convoitée à cause de ses ressources. Donc même si les délégations de la Russie et des États-Unis étaient malheureusement absentes, nous sommes arrivés à un accord entre tous, ce qui était assez remarquable, et cela me rend fier de mon comité. Par ailleurs, le second jour, donc aujourd'hui, nous avons parlé de la gestion équitable de l'eau, ainsi que de son traitement pour qu'elle soit potable et accessible à tous. Et c'était sincèrement mémorable parce que je ne parle pas de la première résolution, de la deuxième résolution, mais quant à la première, elle a été votée à l'unanimité. Il n'y a pas eu d'abstention, il n'y a pas eu de vote en contre. Tout le monde a voté en faveur de cette résolution. Et sincèrement, c'était impressionnant parce qu'à chaque fois que nous avions un amendement, il y avait des voix en contre ou des désaccords. Mais finalement, nous sommes arrivés à une entente entre tous. Et j'espère bien que cette harmonie qui régnait dans la commission de ce MUN règne aussi en fait aux Nations Unies, les véritables, ainsi que dans tous les aspects de la vie et de la société, parce que c'est en éliminant les désaccords et en arrivant à des ententes entre tous et à une harmonie générale que nous pourrons éviter de nombreuses tensions et de nombreux conflits dans le monde. Je rends la parole à l'interprétation.
Merci. What challenges did you overcome and what are you most proud of in your committee? The answer was, I am proud that we have found common solutions for the protection of the Arctic, although maybe the absence of the American and Russian delegations may have made this easier. Second question was, what was the most memorable moment of diplomacy in your committee? The answer was, the most striking moment for me was a unanimous vote for one of our resolutions, which showed us how our hard work allowed us to reach a perfect agreement. I hope that the harmony found at MUN will be achieved by the UN and human society as a whole. I yield the floor.
Merci beaucoup à tous les délégués pour leur discours. We'll now be hearing from our interpreting team. Interpreting, you have the floor.
Thank you, Galileo. What challenges did I overcome and what am I most proud of as an interpreter? So first of all, hello, my name is Théo and I study at the Lycée International de Ferme-Voltaire. And my role in this year's conference is interpreter in the Second Security Council. The challenging aspect of interpretation is that it's defined by spontaneity. And so I take pride in our ability to work under pressure and problem solve in difficult situations. So we know that language can be unpredictable, but being able to overcome obstacles in real time makes me proud to be an interpreter. Knowing that our work allows a program such as FerMUN to be international and host people from many different countries and be much more enriching for everyone involved. I would also like to thank the entire interpretation team and our head of interpretation, Timothy, for the privilege of being a member of the bilingualism team and for allowing me to take part in FerMUN with such a meaningful role. I now give the floor to my co-interpreter, Antonin.
Merci Théo. Donc, qu'est-ce qui m'a poussé à faire interprète et qu'est-ce que cela m'a apporté? Déjà bonjour, je m'appelle Antonin. Cette année, j'étais interprète au 2e Conseil de sécurité. Je peux dire honnêtement que l'expérience que j'ai eue en tant qu'interprète était vraiment formatrice. Sans vouloir faire de la publicité, ce rôle m'a apporté de la confiance, de la connaissance et plus que tout, des moments exceptionnels. Arrivé en seconde, j'ai été sélectionné en interprétariat et en suis tombé amoureux. Casser la barrière de la langue, permettre d'accueillir des élèves du monde entier, faciliter le débat et l'ambiance avec les autres interprètes m'a tout de suite plu. Je suis reconnaissant d'avoir eu l'occasion de prendre part à cette conférence. Pour finir, j'aimerais remercier l'équipe entière, notre chef d'interprétation, Timothée Balenegger, qui s'est donné du mieux qu'il pouvait pour pouvoir tirer de l'interprétation en ligne le meilleur possible. Merci BG. Mes co-interprètes, vous êtes les meilleurs. Et plus généralement, vous tous. Mille merci pour cette dernière conférence inoubliable. I will now repeat in English. What pushed me to become an interpreter and what have I gained from it? Hello, my name is Antonin. This year I was an interpreter in the Second Security Council. Being an interpreter gives you knowledge, confidence, and amazing moments. After being an interpreter in my first MUN year, breaking the language barrier, hosting people from the whole world and the atmosphere with my co-interpreters was something that fulfilled me. To finish, I'd like to thank you all for this unforgettable conference. Thank you. I yield the floor for the last time.
Thank you, both of you. So we will now hear the closing remarks from two of our board members, who over time I've come to consider as good friends as well. First, Mr. Galileo Gray, Deputy Secretary General in charge of chairs.
Thank you all so much for participating this year at FerMUN. If I can ask one thing of you when you leave this conference, it's that you don't let FerMUN be the end of your engagement with the issues we've discussed. Too often, youth are accused of not caring about politics, and we at FerMUN should pride ourselves with being an exception to that rule. Now that you've researched and learned about a few of the problems facing our global community, I hope you'll pursue political change, whether through electoral means or otherwise, to try to address the issues and others, both in your communities as well as on the international scale that we try to emulate at FerMUN. Thank you. I yield the floor to the chair.
Merci Galileo pour tes paroles inspirantes. Je passe désormais la parole à notre secrétaire général adjoint, responsable des délégués, Monsieur Jordan Mbok.
Merci Maureen de m'avoir introduit. Chers délégués, présidents, admins, interprètes et traducteurs, ces 3 jours où vous avez donné votre voix ont permis plus que jamais un échange de culture, de points de vue et de connaissances. Vous avez fait de nouvelles rencontres et vous vous êtes redécouverts par la même occasion. Certaines personnes ne voient plus la vie de la même façon. Chez d'autres, FerMUN aura fait naître des vocations. Tout cela dans un seul but commun, contribuer à l'écriture, une résolution, une source d'espoir, un concentré de solutions afin de faire avancer notre monde. Pour la grandeur de cette initiative, vous pouvez vous applaudir, chers membres de FerMUN. Vous pouvez aussi applaudir l'équipe presse et communication pour sa contribution et les magnifiques mèmes publiés. Les admins, interprètes, traducteurs, sans qui tout cela ne serait pas possible. L'équipe Momentum Production qui aura grandement contribué à l'organisation des cérémonies. Les directeurs FerMUN, les membres du board, les présidents de comité, les délégués qui pendant 1 an ont participé et préparé ce magnifique événement. Mes chers camarades, la meilleure manière de vous féliciter, vous le savez, c'est de mettre des pouces bleus en dessous de cette vidéo, de l'enregistrer afin de partager l'amour de FerMUN et qu'à tout moment, vous puissiez revoir cette vidéo. Bien que nous nous quittions, ce n'est qu'un au revoir. Au fond de nous, les moments passés ensemble, les relations tissées ensemble demeureront vécues et repensées. Ne cessez jamais de penser FerMUNity et soyez fiers de vivre dans un monde que vous aurez contribué à façonner. Je rends la parole à la traduction.
Dear all, for 3 days we have come together to share culture and ideas, and you have met new people and perhaps met something new in yourselves. FerMUN can change lives. Some people have found their dream job here. The goal of all this is to find the solutions we need and to bring hope to the world. Dear participants, clapping is in order for your efforts. You may also applaud the press and communications team for their work to make us laugh with their amazing memes and so much more. We also congratulate the admins, interpreters, and translators who made this conference possible. A special thanks to the Momentum Productions team who contributed to the ceremonies. And last but not least, I congratulate our directors, our board, our delegates, and our chairs who have been preparing this event for over a year now. We now say goodbye, but now the time has come, and you should know that the time we spent together and the connections we have made will stay with us. Always remember FerMUNity, and you can be proud to live in a world that you are shaping. I yield the floor.
Thank you all for your motivation and participation, your flexibility and positivity.
On gardera toujours avec nous ces beaux souvenirs de vous, ensemble à FerMUN 2022.
And now, in the same way that we started this conference, we will now end it with our beautiful Tibetan bowl. Thank you for being part of FerMUNity. Goodbye.